I am using a tag one stroke called Tropical and a 3/4 inch flat brush from the face painting shop. This is the short angled brush, which I like very much. And I'm just going to do this flower around the curve of my eye. Now, depending on who you do this on, you're going to have to just switch the position of the petals and the angle of the flower. You can see when I get closer to my hairline, it gets a little bit more difficult to manipulate. So here I'm just going to do a little bit of a shorter petal and just kind of sneak it in there and then fill in with the heel of the brush so that I still have a good shape to the flower. So now I'm going to let that layer dry, and I'm going to take this peacock stencil. It's a BAM 1410. And I am taking a rainbow cake called Fairy Floss, making sure to keep the cooler tone towards the warm flower so I get a really nice contrast. And the texture is perfect, exactly what I wanted when I picked this up. It'll add some really cool quick texture to lots of different designs. Not sure I'll use it as a peacock, but who knows? Maybe I'll try that one of these days too. So, really cool effect, really liking it. Now I'm going to add the second layer to my flower, and because it's difficult to see what I'm doing on my face, I'm going to show you how I do this on my arm as well so that you can follow the movements and then adopt it to different designs. If you've ever done a rose, it's very similar, but at the point where you would go over, you're going to peek out and back. And then you're just going to repeat that. So wiggle and then to a point, and then for that second layer, you're going to go in between your first layer, and it creates a really simple, effective tropical flower that, of course, you can do in all sorts of different colors. So I am just making sure that everything looks balanced and clean around my eye. This is much harder to do on yourself, so I wanted to show you the flat version as well, because if you practice this, practice it on your arm first, and that way when you're doing it on someone's face, it's a little bit easier. So I'm adding a long pink center and then just doing a low light with some purple because the camera wasn't picking it up very well. And then I'm going to start to add some double dip flowers, and I'm going to kind of cover up that peacock shape because I didn't intend to have that peacock shape really, but I'm going to also be careful because I want it to be nice and layered, but I don't want to completely cover up the stencil because I really like that effect. So as you do this, just kind of think of where you have holes and where you need some additional color, texture, so that it's adding value to the design, but it's not overpowering anything. Now, if I was doing this at an event, those pink flowers is where I would have stopped. I would have added my dots and some swirls and then moved on. But since I'm doing this on myself, I'm taking a small round brush and I'm just going to create some really bright blue flowers as well, just by pressing the brush down and creating some easy petal shapes. While I have that color on my brush, I'm going to add some dots in the center of my pink flowers in the blue and then in my main tropical flower as well, just carrying those colors over and through the design, which is always important when you're doing a really busy design like this. So grabbing some white, I'm doing white centers for my blue flowers, and then I'm also highlighting my tropical flower. And I'm going to go ahead and throw some lines on the center petals of my pink flowers. It just helps give them some additional interest and texture and helps them pop. And now I'm going to add some white dots, and I like to do these in clusters. I like to do them kind of thick and then in kind of a triangular peaked shape. I just really like the way that looks, so I tend to do that a lot in different designs. And I'm just going to add a few kind of teardrops in the center of that tropical flower because I still can't see the center that I created very well. So just adding a little more to it. And then I like doing these kind of curly teardrops. So I'm just going to add those throughout the design, make sure it has a really nice flow and some whimsical effects. You can see here I'm kind of doing a drag and drop line that kind of goes out into a peak. So now I have actually double loaded my dagger brush, which is a very underutilized brush, and I think it's because people don't know how to use it. I love using it for these kind of whimsical lines where you can start really thin and then put pressure down and then pull back up to thin. And you just get a really cool whimsical line. They're really great for tiger stripes if you have trouble using a round brush for tiger stripes. A longer dagger brush, which this is a short dagger brush. The longer brushes that look like this are actually called swords, which I think is kind of fun. So, fun fact for you. So, I went ahead and did some dagger brush lines at the bottom as well. And then I just added some quick black lines to it, and then I outlined that main flower as well. Sorry, I cut out the footage of that part somehow, but I'm sure you guys can figure out that part. I also did a few lines around the flowers, the smaller flowers, just to emphasize them. So here we go. Here is my super bright tropical flower design. I love the way it turned out. It is bright and fun and cheerful. It matches my lipstick, so I'm super happy with it. I hope you guys like it too. If you like it, please give this video a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe, and you can follow me on some of my other social media platforms, Instagram and Facebook. You can find me there at Arielpaints, and there are links down below in the bio. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video.